Hi, I'm JJ Conway, and I help hardworking women and a few good men build financial confidence and take ownership of their financial future. I'm cheering you on with education on financial literacy, smart investments, and passive income streams. Welcome to Ladies of Wealth.
If you have a question, drop it in the comments, whichever side of the screen your comments are on, drop it in the comments, or you can use the anonymous form at askjjc.com. It takes you to a Google form, and that way you can ask your questions or you can drop them in the chat. Your time is your most precious resource. And so whether you're listening to me live or listening to the recording, I am honored and humbled that you chose to spend your time with me. Some of you will listen to this as part of the Ladies of Wealth podcast after we're done recording live. I encourage you to join us live every Thursday night for another great lesson on wealth building, real estate investing. Right now, we're in the series on Think and Grow Rich, okay? Okay, let's get into the actual lesson tonight. Oh, boy. I did not want to do this lesson. I did not want to do this lesson in public. This is actually one of the hardest lessons for me to lead you through. You would think it's the chapter on sex, but it's actually not. I'm okay about talking about that, even in a mixed crowd. Now, the guys may not be okay, right? Like I haven't gotten to Bishop Edwards status where I'll actually preach it from the pulpit, and guys will be like, I can't believe she's saying all that, right? Like she used to. Her and Bishop Butler sometimes too. I'm like, the level of confidence in what the Lord is telling you to deliver, to be able to deliver those kind of messages, just totally impresses me, right? So the guys might be a little cringe, but I'm okay with that lesson because it's very true, and you can use those powerful tactics to accomplish more out of life, right? But autosuggestion, oh y'all, autosuggestion, that's some really squishy ground for a man or woman of God who considers themselves saved and sanctified and filled with the Holy Ghost. Okay, so this is a little awkward, but I think it needs to be covered because it is so very powerful, and it really began with biblical principles. Okay, so if you have your book handy, let me get to my book. All right, if you have your book, you know what? Let's start. Let's start at page. I was gonna say turn to page 78. And I've got mine online. So if I'm not looking at you in the camera, it's because I'm looking at the book here. Chapter 4, Autosuggestion. So now if you have a print book that's not my print version, then it might be a different page, okay? My print version has the line numbers down the side, and so it's slightly different layout. But actually, no, we're not going to start at that chapter. Let's go back up to page, hold on, let me find it. Like that would have been good to find before I started teaching, before I hit go live, right? Okay, let's go to page 36. Okay. And I normally don't want to do this because, let me just be transparent. I want you to buy my book and I want you to buy my course, right? And I can't give everything away for free. I can't give everything away for free. I won't make any money. And then if I'm not making any money, I should be over there snuggling my kid. If I can't get any money, I should be out there in the living room watching something with my husband. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not like this isn't charity. The charity work I do is during the day. This is family time. And my family has agreed for me to have Thursday nights because it results in a benefit for the family. Okay. My oldest was like, I agree to give up my Xbox that needs the internet while you are teaching because we are in rural Texas and the house can't handle both at the same time because I know mama's going to make money and she's going to give me a cut. Okay. So, but I am going to go ahead and share with you this screen. I'm not going to share with you the whole book today, but I want you to see this. Okay. I feel led to share it with you. So I'm going to trust the Lord. I'm going to step out on faith and believe that this is going to be something that's going to be a blessing to those who need to see it. You know, when I was $800,000 in debt, I wasn't mad at the people that didn't want to give me their stuff for free, but I sure did appreciate the ones who did. Okay. So let's see. I've made that as big as I can make it. Okay. And what we have here is he's talking about the role of desire, okay? He's talking about the role of desire, and these are the 6 steps that Napoleon Hill gave us for making a desire for wealth into physical actual abundance, okay? So sometimes, let me make me big here. Sometimes we say, oh, I want this and I want that. Well, you know what they say, if wishes were fishes, right? And so just wishing it and wanting it and hoping it is not going to make it happen. And at the same time, though, many of us have been conditioned that the way to fulfillment is just to hope and wait and be patient. And yes, biblically, we have to learn to be patient. But biblically, the Lord expects us to take action. You know, the woman whose oil ran out because her husband died penniless and had a whole bunch of debt and left them in a precarious position, even though he was a prophet and should have known better. That woman, when the prophet said, gather up all the oil cruises and jars you can find and pour your one little bitty bit of oil into all those things, she could have been like, well, that's a nice idea, but that ain't never going to work. And she could have sat on her bum and got nowhere. But not only did she have faith to step out and actually do the thing, but she and her sons borrowed so many jars, they couldn't find anybody else with any kind of vessel left. And that little cruise of oil kept pouring and pouring and pouring and pouring. It takes action. But nobody teaches us in school. Boy, I don't feel like I'm yelling. I'm not trying to yell at you today because I love you, right? Nobody in school teaches us how to translate desire into action, how to translate desire into physical abundance. And I suspect it's because if all of us knew how to do this, they may be afraid they won't have enough worker bees to pay a pittance and keep working in their lousy factories. Now, the reality is the Bible says the poor you'll have with you always. And I believe that's because some people are not going to give up that poverty mindset. No matter how much you try to pour into them, they are just determined to stay in poverty. Some people are just determined that they are going to be the victim. And some people are just determined that this is it. They'd rather play at a low level than pay the price to play at a higher level. Okay. The poor you will have with you always. All right. But today we want to elevate our lives. We want to make a change. Some of us feel called today to change communities. It takes money and health and strength and connections and resources to change communities. Some of us today feel called to start new ministries that are going to be a blessing for God's people. But guess what new ministries require? They require money and time and health and strength. It doesn't mean it has to all be in your hands, but I'm very thankful that the Lord has already shown me what it is he's going to put in my hands and who I'm going to bless and how I'm going to do it. And it's just, sometimes it just boggles my mind. Like, me? Really? The least of these? Are you kidding? He's got to knock off a few rough edges, I guess. And I'm really trying to learn those lessons now. But so I could, because I don't have as much time left as I did 20 years ago when I accepted my calling into the ministry. But it's not about how amazing you are. It's not what other people think of you. It's about what God thinks of you and what he's called you to. Okay. And for many of us out there today, the Lord has called us to see something even grander than anybody in our life could even imagine for us. Remember what we've said all this time. It's not that some people who tell us to play small just want to keep us from succeeding. There are plenty of people out there that want to keep you from succeeding. But a lot of times, those who are holding us back or encouraging us to hold ourselves back, it's out of the abundance of their care and concern for us that they are telling us to play small. It's not because they just don't want to see us succeed. It's because they don't want to see us fail, and they don't want to see us get hurt, and they don't want to see us get laughed at. And I want to encourage you today to see something higher for your life. See what God has for you. He created you to do something great. He placed greatness in each and every one of us. And so when I show you this, I want you to really get hold of it. Okay? I want you to get hold of it. Get specific about what it is you want. And maybe your goal, maybe your dream is not a monetary dream today. Okay? What I'm going to ask you to do, even if your dream is not a monetary dream, as you walk through this Think and Grow Rich process, I'm going to ask you to get a monetary goal in mind, because a monetary goal is easy to measure. And when you're just starting out in these principles, it's important to have some success that you can definitely point to. I'll never know until I get to heaven just how many millions of people are impacted by what I'm teaching. See, there's hundreds that watch each video, which is great. It's better than the 2 that used to, right? There's hundreds that watch each video. And then there's hundreds more that each of them are impacting in their lives. Sometimes tens, sometimes hundreds, sometimes thousands. And they're taking what I've taught them and they're going out and spreading that. Who knows how many ripple effects, order of magnitudes out that ripple effect spreads. And you don't know how many people you could be impacting. So I don't want to use a squishy thing like so many exposures. Can't pay rent with exposure, but exposure can help pay the rent, right? But I want you to get like let's say you feel called to the ministry, and you know that you feel called to a ministry. You need a place to meet. And a lot of libraries don't like religions to come in. A lot of libraries don't like religions to come in, and they don't like finances to come in and this is how I got around it, unless I was teaching against financial scams. That's how I was able to start teaching in libraries, is because I started teaching about financial scams. And I found a library that let me do Bible study, but a lot of them wouldn't. Different places I've lived in, a lot of them wouldn't let you start there. So you're going to need a place to meet. And that's going to have a monetary cost. So you either need the money or you need the relationship with somebody who can open up that door for you, right? Well, we can't measure relationship in definite terms. So just pick a goal. You need $500 a month. You need $100 a month for your meeting space. Maybe you want to pass out flyers. Flyers are usually not free. Maybe a local printer will sponsor because they believe in what you're doing and what you're called to do. But maybe you got to do like I do and pay $25 a month for your flyers. Whatever it is, add up the cost and come up with a monetary amount. If you're in business and you want to make $1 million every year, break that down to how much you got to make every month. Break that down. Now people say a lot of things, but I'm like, you know what? You ought to save some for taxes. So if you want to make $1 million a year, I'm going to encourage you to say not what is it, like 67,000 a month, but go for 100,000 a month, because you're going to need 2 months for taxes, right? Probably more. But if you've got a good accountant, you can get some tax deductions. All right. We plan on 100,000 a month. Well, what's 100,000 a month? 25,000 a week. What's 25,000 a week? Oh, that's too big of a number. I can't do that. There are plenty of people out there who don't even deserve it. Now, I shouldn't say they don't deserve it, but that aren't doing God's work, that make $1 million a year. Okay? And so I want to encourage you to calculate it out, what you want. Some of you today, let me see what you say. Some of you today don't even need $1 million a year. You don't need $100,000 a month. You don't need $80,000 a month. You know what you just need? You need a little at the end of the month. You need to be able to make it to the next paycheck with a little something left over in your bank. $2,000, $1,000, $500 extra dollars a month would be life-changing for some of you today. Don't be discouraged by what you don't have. Get the vision and make it plain. And that's why I'm asking you, even if your vision, your dream, your goal is a non-monetary goal, there's a financial component to it. And I want you to visualize that financial component, and I want you to write it down. Even if people are donating to your cause, there's a monetary value of that donation. Okay? All right. Okay. So the very first thing is to be definite as to the amount. Okay? And we are going to talk about definiteness of purpose later. Okay, there's a very real psychological reason for that definiteness. Okay, number 2, determine exactly what you intend to give in return for the money you desire. This is where a lot of entrepreneurs fall short, especially those who are interested in training, speaking, and especially coaching. Because this is what I hear from a lot of people. I want the kind of wealthy clients that are going to pay me big money to do nothing for them. And if a client wants too much effort out of me, I fire them. And I think to myself, well, okay, I fire difficult clients too. I fire them. I don't renew their contract. I give them a pause on their, well, I give good people a pause on their payments too. But if somebody's really antagonistic, then I'm just like, I think I'm not the best fit for you at this season of life. Let's pause your payments for now, and you can come back to me later after you've worked with, I have some recommendations or something like that, right? Fire clients all the time. Because you're not doing the work. I don't want to work with people who aren't doing the work, right? But boy, I'm really sounding mean today. I promise. If you don't know me, I can be critical and I can be direct, but I love you. If you're gonna take the time to listen to what I have to say, I love you. Okay, and I just want to see you succeed. Okay, but you want to be clear about what you want to give, and I find that too many people, they just want to make money doing nothing. People get up and testify in church. Oh, the Lord blessed me with this job, and or they'll pray for me, y'all. I've got this job interview coming up, and I want to get this good government job so I can go get paid to do nothing all day. Or I had people apply to work in my offices or in my units, and I was like, and I thought to myself, I remember the last job you were on. You got fired because you weren't doing your job, because you thought your job was to show up and do nothing and look good. Like, I don't need that in my life, and I don't need to strain the relationship either. So you're not going to work for me. Now, I don't ever say that out loud, but if they watch my videos now, they know why I never hired them. But they probably don't watch my videos. But but I get a lot of people who want to speak at my events. And back when I used to interview before every speaker, like now I'll interview for the people that I'm paying, right? But if you're just coming on the podcast, I'll interview you for the podcast. And if it doesn't work, it took me just as long to interview you for the podcast as it would have done to pre-qualify you. So really, I've saved myself some time, because now I haven't had to listen to you tell me what you think is the right answer versus, just do the thing. And most of the time I'm doing the thing. And so most of the time the pre-interviews were great content anyway. So I just scrapped that, right? But back when I used to do that, because I was scared, I was just so scared. I was operating from a position of fear. And I was so scared to share my platform with anybody else. And what I didn't realize is that by holding everything in, I was failing to receive. Because you can't receive when you're holding everything too tight. It's only when you let go and you release what you've been given out into the world that now your hands are empty and open for you to receive more. Okay? And so I used to ask this question. I used to say, well, why do you want to be a speaker? What is it about speaking that appeals to you? And 9 out of 10 people would be like, I just want to get paid. It looks like an easy way to get paid. And I hate to break it to you, but professional speaking is not an easy way to get paid. It is absolutely, by hands down, the most fun way I make money, other than coaching people one-on-one. Absolutely. No doubt about it. The most fun you'll ever have. But it took me a lot of work to get to where I can comfortably ask for $10,000 to $15,000 to $20,000 for a keynote or for a workshop. It took a lot of work for me to get to this point. It's not just it's not just a push the easy button and go. Okay? It's not how that works. Honey, sit upright so you don't get a crick in your neck. Okay? I know you're sleeping. I'm so glad you're in here with me though, but you can go back to your bed at any time. Okay. Okay. Sorry, y'all. I just noticed my son leaned all the way over there, and I don't want him to have a crick in his neck. Tomorrow is a big day. Tomorrow's a big day. Okay. So what was I saying? Oh yeah. Speaking. So I would ask people, why do you want to speak? And it's almost always, well, because it's an easy way to make money and I don't want to work hard. I'm like, yeah, not a, and then I've actually told one guy to his face, you're not a good fit, because that's the wrong answer. And now I just put it in my pre content. Hey, we're looking for people who want to change the world. So I put that in there. We want to be definite about what it is we're willing to do and to give up. There is no such thing as something for nothing. there is always a cost. And it's either pay now or pay later, but at some point you're going to pay. All right. So first, be definite as to the monetary amount that you want. Second, determine exactly what you intend to give in return for the money you desire. Third, establish a definite date when you intend to possess the money you desire. So, like in the ministry case, okay, I want to open this ministry. I feel the Lord is leading me to open this ministry by XYZ date. This is how much I need. This is what resources I need to open this up. And you put a date and you make it plain. You write it down. You write the vision and you make it plain. Number 4, create a definite plan for carrying out your desire and begin it once, whether you are ready or not. Ready or not, here I come. Ready or not, here I come. All right. 5th, write out a clear, concise statement of the amount of money you intend to acquire. Name the time limit for its acquisition. State what you intend to give in return for the money, and describe clearly the plan through which you intend to accumulate it. And then finally, and this is one of the most important things, you read your written statement aloud twice daily, once before going to bed and then once after waking up in the morning. As you read it, see it, feel it, believe in yourself that you are already in possession of this money, of this goal. And if you do that, this is one very simple way of autosuggestion, of reprogramming your mind to stifle all those negative voices that tell you you can't do it and start tuning into the positive voices, especially the voice of the Lord that says you can and you shall. All right, now let's go back to page 78. Let me go back to page 78, and that's the start of our chapter on autosuggestion. Oops, I went too far. See, I said this last week and then I took no action, that I need to just go ahead and order some to keep here, even though I took everything to my office. And then I went to my office and there was only one in there. I'd sold all the rest of them and totally forgot, right? Like I need those for my conference in Florida. Okay. So chapter 4, autosuggestion. The medium for influencing the subconscious mind, the 3rd step towards riches. Okay, so you'll see here that Hill notes how we are supposed to write down our goal, read it out loud twice a day, not just read visual, but actually engage everything. Because by doing these different modalities, you're reading it with your eyes, you're speaking it with your mouth. Now you are reinforcing what's going on all the different sensual planes, not sensual as in sexual, but sensual as in touch, taste, hearing. Okay. Not taste. I must be a little tired, right? We want to see ourselves clearly in possession of this goal. We do that through imagination. Okay. And this is how we communicate our desire directly to our subconscious mind in the spirit of absolute faith. Okay. So no thought, line 10, no thought, whether it be negative or positive, can enter the subconscious mind without the aid of the principle of autosuggestion, with the exception of thoughts picked up from the ether. And what he means by that, what Napoleon Hill means by that is what you're picking up from God. Now, he doesn't call it God. I don't know if he actually intended for God. He might be doing like a lot of business people do when they say source or the grand overall designer, because we don't really mean God, but we don't want you to think we don't mean God, because we know you won't buy our stuff if you think we don't mean God. Okay. Let me go ahead and go back to mute. How did I get on mute? Okay, now I'm off mute. Okay, so no thought. So you find that very interesting, because you'll find in the next you'll find that we've been given dominion over all things. We can decide what's going to be in our brain, but the problem is our subconscious mind is not the same as our thinking mind, and our subconscious mind is ruled by emotion. All right. So at the top of the next page, where is it? Where is it? Okay. At the top of the next page, he says that plain, unemotional words Don't influence the subconscious mind. You're not going to get any appreciable results until you learn to reach the subconscious mind with thoughts or spoken words which have been emotionalized with belief. That's why really believing what you're reading while you're reading it is so important. That's why, for those of you who share my faith and are members of my church, in Introduction to Preaching, we were told that the most effective sermons are those that celebrate at the end of the sermon. You have delivered biblical content in your teaching portion of your sermon, and now you are driving it home emotionally with the celebration or the hoop or the holler that the preacher does at the end of the sermon. Okay, it's so powerful. In fact, I used to think all that stuff was a waste of time because I don't care for that style of delivery. I prefer a more intellectual style of delivery, and I'm the kind of person that will respond and make the changes without the hooping and hollering. But at some point, you have to realize, if you want to get something done, and the way you get it done isn't working for everybody else, at the end of the day, you got to do what works for everybody else. And what I found out is once I began to actually mix some emotion with the words, now it has more effective change in the subconscious of those who willingly receive it. Okay, so in this instance, we have a goal. We have a thing we've been called to do. We have a business we feel led to build. We want to build great wealth, and we want to transform our family's financial tree, right? And all these voices from our past. You're not good enough. Who you think you are? Get off your high horse. Don't rock the boat. All of those voices from our childhood are clawing back with the emotion of whoever put them in us, and we think if we just had enough willpower, we could muscle through it and get it done. And some people have more willpower than others, but none of us have enough willpower to overcome all that because you're not actually changing the source of it, which is your subconscious, your emotional subconscious. Okay, so let me flip over to page 83. Is it 83 or 82? All right. He's given examples. Here we go. Okay, here we go. Okay, page 83. And you can't get this book on Amazon, by the way. And if you go to jjclink.com, jjclink.com/DAGR5, you'll see a free lesson that gives you the link to buy the book on Amazon. Okay. But if you buy the lesson, you get the electronic version that I'm using right now. You get that absolutely at no charge. It's totally included in the course. The electronic version is. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Okay. This is key. This is line 181. All right. You are now reading the chapter which represents the keystone to the arch of this philosophy. The instructions contained in this chapter must be understood and applied with persistence if you succeed in transmuting desire into money. So, okay, this chapter, 7.5 pages, all right? It's the shortest chapter in the book, and he's saying this is the keystone of the philosophy, okay? So I think it's really, really worth paying attention to this chapter, and because it's so short, it's kind of easy to overlook it, right? Like I read it several times, and he recommends you read it over and over. But I read it, and I was just like, because this idea of autosuggestion intrigued me. Is it about how I can reprogram my mind? But it also scared me. Because in today's world, when people say autosuggestion, what they really mean is hypnosis, which is a little squishy and uncomfortable for God's servants. And the thing is, we got to understand that the way that this universe was created by the Creator, who I call God, has certain immutable laws and certain things that just work. And if you work them the way according to the natural laws that God created, then they will work for you. Okay. And so one of those things is we are not just able to get rid of our old programming. It just doesn't go away. You don't just think it away. You don't just decide that energy is gone. That doesn't work. That old programming is energy and it never goes away. Energy cannot be destroyed. Now, unless the Lord clean takes it away, okay, now we're always going to have this voice, unless the Lord takes it away. We are always going to have this voice of self-judgment, and we're always going to be susceptible to this voice of negativity, this voice that reminds us of all our failures. That energy doesn't go away. It does not go away. It has to be changed.
Don't forget to like this episode, subscribe to the channel, and ask your question at ladiesofwealth.com.